love reading.
So hello and welcome everybody to our Literacy Numeracy Parade online. A little bit different this year, but we're all here and I'm so glad that we're all able to come together again and looking forward to seeing all our wonderful costumes later on during the week. Now, I have dressed up as Captain Chapter. You ask why Captain Chapter? Well, my love of books. I love books, and what I do is I save books from being destroyed and they go into loving homes. So therefore I am Captain Chapter. But enough about me. Today we have a special guest with us today. We have Mr. Adam Wallace, our lovely author illustrator that has visited our school several times. And if you're new to Courtney Gardens Primary School, he has numerous books in our library that you can come and borrow. Hence my lovely display at the back here. Just promoting a few books there, Mr. Wallace. But anyway, I'll pass it on to Adam now and he can say a few words about himself.
Great. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Adam Wallace and I've dressed up as a pirate today because my birthday is actually on International Talk Like a Pirate Day, which is coming up very soon, so you can send me presents if you want. And pirates are they weren't so nice, but they were kind of like the superheroes of the sea in a way, but they were kind of bad superheroes. So that's my part. But I've also got my cat gloves on, which is sort of in reference a little bit to one of the prize winners of one of the writing competitions. So that might be a little hint, but we're going to do that a little bit later, I think, as well. And so what about me? I've published over 80 books now, and I've illustrated, I think, maybe 10 or 12 of those. And so some of the ones in the library I wrote and my friend James illustrated, and some of them I wrote and I illustrated. And I write every single day, and I draw every single day, and I dress up as a pirate, not every single day, but sometimes. That's pretty much all about me. I know some of the questions are going to bring out some more things as well about me. So I might not give too much away now, but we'll give everything away in the questions. I'm going to answer these questions so truthfully. You're going to find out everything about me. It's going to be kind of scary, I think.
Okay. Okay. So, all right, we might go into our questions then. Questions and answers first. All right, so who's up first? Who's saying the first question? Yes, okay, Selvi, off you go.
Right, Selvi.
What is your favourite food and why?
My favourite food and why? That's a very good question because I'm actually allergic to a lot of things. So there's a lot of foods I can't eat. I can't eat onions. I can't eat nuts. I can't eat dairy, which means that I can't eat ice cream, cheese, yogurt, cream, milk, or chocolate. So I can't eat any of those things. So they may be my favorite foods, but they can't be because I would eat them and die. I wouldn't die, but I'd get sick. I'd get a rash all over my face. And so there's not those. What's my favorite food? Do you know what? It's not really a food, but I love banana and berry smoothies. They are possibly my favorite thing in the world. I have a banana smoothie every single day.
Yeah, as well.
What was that?
They are my favorite as well.
Really? That's so cool. Awesome. Apart from that, my other favorite food is you get these things from the shops. I don't even know what they're called. Hang on. I'm going to show you. I'll be back. I eat these things, which are so yum. And they've got pumpkin seeds in them, and I eat them.
Oh, wow.
So yum. Munch. I munch them, and I crunch them, and they're really sticky. They're really good.
Yum.
They are yum, Selvi. You should try them.
Well, thank you, Selvi, for your lovely questions. But we must get on because we've got so many other wonderful questions for Adam. So who would like to go next? Medea, I think I saw your hand up there.
How did you turn your love for writing into a career?
Oh, that's a really good question, Medea. What I did to start with is I wrote every single day, and I still do. But when I started, I wrote every single day, and I wrote, in that first year, I wrote hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories. Then I started sending them out to publishers, and I sent out to, over 5 years, I sent out to 150 publishers, or 150 different stories to publishers, and they all said, no, we will not publish your book, which was very sad and depressing. But what I did then is actually self-publish the book. I thought if no one else is going to publish it, I will do it myself. So I found this guy, Heath, who became my friend, Heath McKenzie, who also illustrates now Do Not Open This Book. And he's a really, really good illustrator. So we made a book called Better Out Than In, and it was disgusting and gross. And we sold that. We went to markets and we went to schools and we sold the book. And so that started it as a career. And then slowly, slowly, as I got better at writing, I ended up getting published by publishers. But most of what turned it into a career, my love of writing, was visiting schools and talking to kids and finding out what kids like to read and what they think is funny and what they think is exciting. And that made my writing so much better all the time. So visiting schools was probably one of the main reasons that I was able to make it a career. And writing every single day. That was the other thing as well, because I had to get better and better and better and better and better all the time. Good question. It's a hard one to answer in a way, but they're the main two things. Working every day on my writing and visiting schools.
Right, thank you so much. Thank you, Medea. That was a great question. Okay, who's up next? Ravindu.
If you were an animal, which animal would you be?
If I wasn't an author, what would I be? Oh boy, this is a hard one.
If you were an animal, what would you be? If you were an animal, what would you be?
I was an animal, what would I be? Oh, that's a much easier question. I would be a monkey or a bird, because monkeys are awesome. And if I could get any superpower, the two superpowers I would want would be either being invisible or flying. And so I'd love to be a bird so I could fly, because flying would be so cool. So I'd love to be a bird. And somehow, I don't know how they stand on electric telegraph wires and don't get electrocuted. So I want to try that. So I want to be a bird before I try it. If I tried as a person, I'll probably get electrocuted, which would be bad. But I think a bird. Maybe a chameleon, because they can kind of go invisible by, what's it called? Changing colour. A chameleon, a monkey, or a bird, or a shark, because sharks are super cool as well. I've got 4 answers. Do I have to say 1 or can I say 4?
You can say how much you want.
Oh, sweet. Okay, also a gorilla or a dragon.
Oh.
There's 6. If I could be any animal, I'd be one of those 6.
Okay.
Wow, that sums it up the whole universe, doesn't it, Mr. Wallace?
Pretty much. There's not much left. You bugged.
Okay, thanks, Ravindu, for that question. Okay, who's up next? Caitlin, fire away.
So I have 2 questions for you today. My first question is, what made you want to become an author?
Well, do you know what? When I left school, I actually became an engineer, and I did lots of maths and science and chemistry and physics and all that stuff. And I didn't even think that I would ever become a writer. And then one day, it was about 10 years after I finished high school, and someone challenged me. They said, I bet you could write a children's book. And I'm like, I bet I could not write a children's book. And they bet me $10. And I wrote it, and it was pretty terrible. It was a bit called Blip. It was about this little character who looked like a raindrop, and he lived next to a sand pit. It was he drank Coca-Cola. It was a very odd story. But I did it, and I really, really enjoyed writing it so much that just went, oh, I didn't know if it was going to be a career, but I knew I wanted to write. And so I wrote again every day since that day. And I did some not university courses, but through like little one-day courses on writing. And the more I did it, just the more I loved it. And one day I just went, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I want to live to 130. So I've got a lot of writing to do still. Okay, question 2.
So I recently read one of your books called Weird. And are you thinking of making another one?
Oh, kind of like that one. That's a good question. So I wrote one that was similar to that before Weird, which was called Random, and that was kind of similar. So I did Random, then I did Weird. So yes, I'm definitely thinking of doing another one, but I don't know what it would be called. So I've done Random and Weird. Oh, there's random. Yes. So, yeah, I would just have to think what I would call it. A word. Oh, there's weird. I've got them on different screens with Medea. So I would either do random, weird. Yeah, I have to think. Once I think of another word, then I'll think what I can. Because those books were really fun. Because basically, whatever popped into my head, I just wrote it down on the page, and so that's why it is kind of weird and random. But yeah, good question. And they took me ages to illustrate those ones as well. I think there's like 150 illustrations in them or something like that. So it was heaps.
They're really funny.
Oh, thank you. I will definitely write another one.
Thank you so much. Okay, Aparna's got her hand up. What's your question?
Aparna.
What made you want to start writing stories, and do you enjoy it?
Enjoy it so much. It is crazy. I wake up every morning and all I think about for that day is when I wake up, I think, what story am I going to work on and write on today? So yeah, I've had about 20 different jobs, and this is my favorite by far. My second favorite was working in a before and after care at a school. I really enjoyed that. But and that was where I started writing stories for the kids there. But writing, I love it. And what started was kind of this challenge. And then once I started it, I just liked it so much. I just had to do it every single day. The other day, I wrote for 8 hours in the whole day. So I write all the time. I've written about 2,500 stories now. So yeah, I have to like it to do that many. Otherwise, I'm just crazy.
Wow, that's a crazy amount of writing, isn't it?
Crazy amount of writing.
Okay, SJ, you've got your hand up there.
Where do you get your ideas from for your books?
Good question, SJ, and cool hair, by the way. I get my ideas for my books in so many different places. Sometimes it's what someone says. Sometimes I might even just say, like, if I saw you and think your hair is so cool, I might write a story I'd base a character around someone with really cool hair, and then I would write something around that. I do opposites a lot. So I think I'm super, super clumsy when I dance, but then I think, what if I was clumsy and awesome stuff happened? And that became the book Accidentally Awesome. So I do lots of opposites to what normally happens. One time I heard a song and I thought that song would be a cool soundtrack in a movie. So I wrote a book that would match up to the song. It's kind of everywhere. Often it's stuff that I see or that I hear or that I do, and then I just try and turn that into a story. So yeah, lots of ideas everywhere. Sometimes I'll just I'll write 5 words down. Happy, monkey, hairdryer, truck. And then I'll use those words to start writing a story. And it may not be very good, but it sort of gets my ideas going a little bit. But good question. Ideas are everywhere, I reckon. If you sort of keep your eye out for them, you can get them anywhere. An idea might be about a character who loves eating these munch little things. I'm going to show you. Selby, watch this. That is so good. I would write a story about someone who loved munch characters and just see what happens. And I always think, what could go wrong? What could go wrong for the main character?
Lunch coach.
Good.
Oh, you're making us all hungry now. Okay, Andrew, I think you had your hand up. Andrew, would you like to ask Adam his questions?
Yeah. Were you good at writing when you were at school?
Good question. I was very good at writing when I was in primary school, and I actually still have a book. I don't have it here because I left it at a school. I have a book called Frogmen of the USA, which is about these frogmen who came out of the water and hit everyone's faces off, basically. That was in grade 4. I wrote that, and I used to love writing because my grandmother wrote children's books as well, and my dad used to write little stories. So I was good at writing then. Then in high school in year 12, I actually almost failed writing in year 12. I was getting not very good marks for that. My parents had to speak to the teachers. I was writing stories that I liked, but I wasn't very good at writing like descriptive essays or argumentative essays or stories about stuff that I thought was boring. I just wanted to write stories about stuff that I liked writing, and they didn't like the same thing. So it wasn't that I was bad at writing. I just wasn't good at writing what they wanted. But if I wrote the stuff I liked, I really enjoyed it. And when I enjoyed it, the writing was always a lot better as well. So yeah. So you sort of yes and no. I kind of was, kind of wasn't. I wasn't great at drawing. drawing's only something I started just about 10 years ago. So I wasn't very good at drawing when I was at school at all.
But you certainly have gotten better as you've gotten older.
Practice every single day.
Practice every day. That's what it is, kids. You need to practice. Okay, who's next? Nastrin, would you like to ask a question?
If you had a dinner party once isolation was finished and you could invite any 3 people in the world, who would it be?
Oh my. I can see all 3 right here in these screens. But then I would do a second dinner party. Who would I invite? And they have to be alive? Or can it be like alive or dead?
Your option, it can be anyone.
Okay. So if it was someone who's not alive, but then we could somehow make them alive, I would invite Bruce Lee, who was like a karate superstar. And also I read all of his books and I've actually got a paint, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. There's a painting on my wall that someone did of Bruce Lee for me. So I invite Bruce Lee. I would invite Nathan Buckley, Collingwood's football coach, and I would tell him all the things I think that he should do to make Collingwood better, because I'm such an expert. And then I would also invite Andy Griffiths, because I really, really like him and I would love to talk about stories with him as well. And so, yeah, Bruce Lee, Nathan Buckley, Andy Griffiths, and myself, of course. I would be there hosting. Would I have to cook for this dinner party or could I get takeaway?
You could do anything.
Okay, I would get takeaway because if I cooked, they would all hate me and run away because I'm not a very good cook.
So don't
I would just get a banana
pumpkin
smoothie.
Seeds.
We'd have pumpkin seeds and banana berry smoothies. That actually sounds amazing. I will cook.
Well, aren't we glad we're not coming? Okay, Mithuki, you're up next.
If you were granted 3 wishes, what would they be and why?
Oh, 3 wishes. What would they be and why? I've always said this, even since I was younger, when people asked if I had 3 wishes, what would I choose? I would definitely wish to be like a really, really, really good singer. I would love to be able to sing really, really well. So definitely be a really good singer would be 1. Number 2, oh, this is hard. Okay, second wish, I would wish, one of those superpowers we were talking about before. I would wish that I could go invisible if I wanted to at any time. So I could sing, go invisible, and then, I know what I would wish right now. I would wish that COVID would go away and never come back. And so I could actually come and see you all at school instead of, this is good, but I'd love to actually come out to school and see you all. So being able to sing, being able to go invisible, no more lockdown.
Well, they sound great to me, and hoping, fingers crossed, we might see you in the distant future. We just don't know yet. Okay, has everyone asked their questions? Who have I missed?
Angela,
okay.
I think, and Bahandu.
Oh, and Angela. Okay, all right. Is it Bahandu?
It's a Handu.
Bahandu, cool.
Oh,
What's your
sorry,
question?
darling.
When did you first start writing? And when did you first start?
Well, so I did used to write at primary school. I used to write at school, and then I would write at home as well. And I would write with my grandmother, and so I would either tell her stories and she would type them up and we'd make them into books, or I would just write them out by hand. So I'd definitely write at primary school, and even at high school I would write. When I got home, I would write stories. But then after high school, I didn't write for 10 years. I became an engineer. So I started writing in this part of my life, and as an adult, I was 28 years old when I started writing, and then I've written every single day since, and I'm now 72. I'm not that old. If any of you believe that, I'll be very upset. Oh.
28.
That's right, I was 28. Exactly, I'm older than that now. Not much.
Well, you look very young for 72, I must say. What is
It's all those smoothies.
yeah, pumpkin seeds.
Pumpkin seeds.
Okay, Angela, you're up next.
Okay. Are you currently writing any books? If so, can we have a sneak preview?
Ooh, that's a good question. Okay. I am, well, it's two guys. So I actually just finished 2 books. One of them, well, we don't know what it's going to be called. Initially, it was going to be, I'll give you a sneak preview of the first verse. And this happened because I actually saw a bull ant in my house. And I was on the phone to my friend. And he said, and I told him there was a bull ant in my house. And he's like, oh, a bull ant in the bedroom. That's a good story. And I went, oh. And so I went up, and this is the first verse I wrote for this story. There's a bull ant in the bedroom and it bit me on the bum. I screamed and flicked it out of there, and then it bit my mum. It crawled across the floor before it bit Dad in the head, so I calmly picked it up and put it in my sister's bed. And then there's a tiger in the toilet and a hippo in the hallway and a lion in the laundry and a chameleon in the closet. I can't. So that's what I just finished, and that's about to get illustrated now by, I can't tell you who, it's a surprise. I actually don't think I'm allowed to say. And so that one will be out next year. I just finished the book, so I was going to talk about it later. So this one has just come out now, called Fart Boy, Enter the Gang. Okay. And then I'm also working on a series that will be Fart Boy when he's a little bit older. And I'm also working on a series of picture books where I've written 32 books in the series so far. And that one is about, like, if dinosaurs came to your birthday, or if unicorns came to Christmas, or if zombies came to Mother's Day, or if, who else have I done? A mermaid. And so it's all about if these mythical kind of creatures or other creatures came to normal events, how it would just be chaos and crazy. So that's what I'm working on. So quite a lot at the moment, actually. I've got to write another one, another Fart Boy. We're up to the 6th one of that, so I'm going to, I've got to finish that one. So I'm working on lots. I like to work on lots of different stories at once. Usually not 40.
That's just amazing. Well, guys, I think Adam's answered all your questions. Have I missed anybody? I don't think I have I? No.
Might have one more.
One more?
Is it Caitlin?
Yeah, I just have another question for you. How old were you when you first wrote your first book that was published?
I was 32. I think I wrote it when I was about 30, and it got published when I was 32. And that was the first Better Out Than In I did. So that was when I self-published. And then the first time I got published by a publisher was then 3 years after that. So I was 35, the first one I got done by a publisher. So it was 7 years after I started writing that it took me to get published by a publisher. Good question. And then, so it took me 7 years to get my first one. And then in the next 10 years, I've done 70 something, 80. So it took a while to get started, but then once I got started, then lots more came out. Oh, itchy having hair. How do you people do it?
Well, that's just an amazing career you've had, and I'm so glad you're still doing it because your books are fantastic. We stock them in the library, and yeah, the kids thoroughly enjoy them. Sometimes they fight over them because they all want your drawing, your rhyming with drawing and all those kinds of books. They love those ones. But every time
a boxing ring for them to fight over it?
No.
Okay, good.
So thank you so much. Thanks, guys, for your wonderful questions. We learned a lot about Adam just then.
Yeah.
Now, we've got something exciting to announce now. Apparently, there was a drawing and writing competition. And I must say the entries have been absolutely brilliant. Fantastic. The teachers would be so proud of the kids and their achievements with their work. And I think Adam was very proud of you too. And he's come up with some winners. So we're going to pass it over to Adam and he's going to announce our winners.
Yes, cool. So I didn't get to see all of the stories, so I kind of got narrowed down to some for me to look at to choose the winners from. But even the ones I saw were very, very cool. And it's always very hard to choose a winner from stories and pictures, because sometimes it's just what I like and what kind of stands out to me. So the ones I pick, I like them all, and I wrote sort of notes on all of them as well. But the ones that I chose that kind of stood out to me. So in the drawing from prep to 3, we did a prep to 3 section, and there's going to be some prizes which I'm going to send out to the school as well. So the winners of the drawing competitions are going to get my new drawing book, which is Rhymes with Illustrations. And I'm going to send out a couple of extras for the library as well. Right, this is the prize. So the winner from grade prep to 3 was Rana Dale, who did Bike Girl. And one of the reasons I like that, with the drawing, it was partly the picture and partly the name or the description of the character as well. And I liked that one because Bike Girl came about because she fell into like toxic waste and that made her into a superhero. Because when I was a kid, there was a hero I liked who fell into toxic waste and so that just connected with me, which is good. Grade 4 to 6, I chose Eggy Girl by Angela Ahmad, who's in 6H. And that was there was, again, lots of cool pictures. The reason I chose that was I really like that Eggy Girl, who can fire eggs, is petrified of chickens. And I like that sort of opposite-y thing as well. So that was why I chose that one. And yes, they get the drawing one. Now, for the writing, in prep to 3, and I hope I pronounced this one right, I think it's Aria Noor, who's in 2P. And she did one, the reason I like that, so I'm wearing my cat gloves, is it was about where a person got switched with a cat. They became the cat and the cat became them. And I like that because, well, partly in the story, it was about they could be late. There was good things and there was bad things about it, which is a really good way I like to write, to think about what could be good and what could be bad. And also, cats are kind of lazy and they just kind of sit around. And so I was like, well, what could happen? Like, what could be interesting? And so to make that interesting was really good. And so that was what I've got for that as a prize, is this other brand new book I did called 24 Absolutely Totally True Facts About Penguins, which is a book I wrote, I've had lots of fun with, and lots of penguins almost catch fire and explode and stuff. So that was really fun. So that's that prize for Aria. And then in grade 4 to 6 was Amaya Mohotti from 4D, who wrote a story about candy eating humans instead of humans eating candy. So again, I like that sort of opposite thing, and that idea of like sticky candy attacking, and then how would candy eat humans? Like, would it bite them or would it sort of just lick them like we lick candy? And so yeah, so those were good. But all the stories I read were really, really fun, and all the pictures were cool as well. And some of them, yeah, there was bits about everything that I liked, but they were just the ones that stood out to me. And so that one for Amaya, I've got a copy of the brand new book as well, which I'll send out as a prize too.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you to everybody, everybody that sent their entries in. They were all fantastic. And Adam did have a finalist list. So, yes, it was a really, really hard job for the teachers to go through all of that. So thank you so much, everybody. And thank you for participating in such a great competition, and of course for Adam for picking the prizes and for donating his wonderful book. So thank you so much. Now, I think we have one more surprise for the kids, don't we? We are going to end the session, but I think Adam's going to take us out with a wonderful drawing. So I want us all to thank Adam for coming on and making our Literacy Numeracy Parade so great. Even though it's online, we still had a lot of fun and we learnt so many beautiful things about him. So I'd like you all to thank him very, very much.
Cool, thank you. And I had, when you said one more surprise, I was like, what? But then I remembered. And I've got paper up here. So I'm going to just move out a little bit and then move this a little bit closer so hopefully we can all see well. Can't tell where the paper is. Okay, so what I thought I'd draw is one of the pictures out of the new book, out of my, where did I put it? Yeah, out of Rhymes with Illustrations. And it's a hippo, and I really, really like drawing a hippo. And I'm going to draw, there's a bit of a trick to it, as there often is with my pictures. So it's going to be a hippo from behind, like we're looking at the back of the hippo. So we're going to start with the hippo's big bum. I'm going to get another texture because that's the wrong one. That's better. Okay, here we go. Step one. I'm also going to take this glove off. It's really hard to draw. Okay, here we go. So drawn, hippo's bum there. And so of course we need some back legs. Over there, which is nice. Hope you can see that. And then we're going to draw the back of the hippo's head. Oh, actually, we're going to draw its little back of its neck first, and then the back of its head. We're going to draw some ears on the back of its head. So it's facing right into the page. And because it's the back of it, we better draw some butt cheeks on it as well. So that's the back of the hippo. And really, that's a bit boring. We're going to make it a little bit more interesting. So what I'm going to do is draw circle in there, circle in there, circle in there, and a circle in there. And then I'm going to draw. Oops. And let's make him a bit of a bored hippo. So now we're going to flip him around, and it's actually the front of the hippo. So I'm going to draw his mouth, and we'll draw chin coming up there. Oh, he's going to have a tiny body. I've done his head too big. Legs, little tail. Oh, that's it. There's my hippo with a huge head and a tiny body.
That is fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Well done. That is really great. It's so, you make it look so easy. There's no way we can do that.
It's from doing it all day, every day. I've drawn that hippo about 1,000 times, I reckon. So it gets easier and easier. If I could send that to you, I would. If I can work out a way to send that through, I will.
Well, you never know. We might meet up again.
We might. That would be lovely.
Thank you so much again for your time, and thanks again. We've thoroughly enjoyed it.
My pleasure, and thanks for all the really cool questions. They were great questions.
They were, weren't they?
Good variety.
It was. All right, guys. Final farewells to Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
My pleasure.
Okay. See you later.
For coming.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Everyone's disappearing.
Bye.
Bye.